Okay. Uh, we exist. I believe. Let's give it a moment to make sure because, technology is a fickle thing. Occasionally you can get yeeted out of the universe of streaming if the stream gods aren't feeling very good. It would appear we are live, though. Hello! We're doing some dev today because that's where I pray I can bring the channel more into creating our own stuff rather than playing other people's games. And this is my first little public project. So, let me show you guys what we've got and what we're going to be working on today. We're going to get our first bit of gameplay today, which is pretty exciting. But if you want to check this out, you can actually go to Vooperia.io, and I've been cleaning up a little bit, trying to make it look as smooth as possible, but the game is here. You can play it whenever you feel like it. There's nothing to do in it right now, though. I'm just slowly getting controls and stuff working, and it works on mobile as well, depending on the device. So it works well on my phone, but other people have issues. And some people, the water looks absolutely terrible. I think it affects the AMD cards, but I'm not absolutely sure on that one. But so this is what we have in the last release I put onto the site, which is basically working on this. I made it so that you can do WSAD, WASD, WASD, if you really so feel like walking like that, because, I feel like a lot of people are going to be playing it on a computer. And at the same time, you can scroll to select what slot you're on for your inventory. Or if you're on mobile, you can click these arrows and it'll switch what's selected. And if you're on mobile, you can also click on the screen to move the person. So we've got the basic controls set up, which is it's not bad actually. It's becoming a little bit more intuitive than I thought it would be. To go over to the controls page, it's pretty great. Okay, so let's stop memeing around and start adding stuff. What I want is to make it so that you can interact with things, like punch things. So, big thing we have to do here is first, I'm making this on use, which will happen when you hit space. And I'll add a button for mobile to be able to do it. But the thing is, we don't want people to just be able to spam that and hit space like 8 billion times and for things to happen super fast. We need to have a buffer in place. So what we're going to do is we've got last use, which is the time of last use, and use timeout, which is the time between, which is when they're allowed to use things. And so on the character, let's set use timeout to 1, which means 1 second between using an item. I think that's pretty fair. And so we have to do if last use plus use timeout is greater than time. I think it's in seconds. Yes, in seconds. Okay, fantastic. So basically what that does is if the last time we use the item plus 1 second is past the current time, then we allow it to happen. Then we just do last use equals time to reset it, and then we actually do the and actually this should be moved here just for the sake of cleanliness. The on use should only do things about using, not about figuring out whether it should be able to. So great, when we press the spacebar now, if we've waited the second, it'll run this code right here. And let me make this easier for you guys to see. I don't need to dual screen this. We can zoom this in a bit for you guys. Hi, MathAwesome121, and thank you for the super chats. And what we're gonna do is, on use, we're gonna play an animation. So I'm not 100% sure how the animator works in Unity. Haven't used it for a long time. Pretty sure they completely replaced the system. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to player animation, and we're gonna look at the animation we have, item use right here, and we're gonna see if it's just called item use, but do I need to add a trigger? Ah, here we go, trigger. But how do you modify the state machine? That's the question. Because we've got this, we just don't want it to, we don't want it to run right after it starts. Oh, and then that goes to something I see. So if we create a new state, is there a way like transition to this so that I can delete this one? Why is item use? Okay, let's just do a quick test and make sure there's not something horribly broken. If I comment that out, is that just gonna still play the animation? Yeah, so what is playing the animation? That's the question. It's gotta be this. Unless something didn't get updated, let's just quickly make sure that the player in here doesn't have a animator it's not supposed to have. No, look at that. Okay, so you can see here that the entry is going straight to item use, but what we need to do is make it so that it doesn't do that by default. Oh, I see. We need an idle state. Okay, I get it. We need another state that is the idle state. Okay, so let's go ahead. We have to create one, and we'll just do create. Where is it? Animation. Animation. This will be idle. But how do I make this go to this instead? There we go. Okay, so that's going to be forced to go there. So that'll go there, and then this can go to this. Okay. So when it starts, it goes to idle, and then it can go to item use. It's doing idle, but it's still doing it. Okay, so the idle animation is literally empty, so something is still going horribly wrong here. And that's gonna do it. Okay, 1 second. So we're gonna switch this back. Although that may have to be a coroutine in the future. That should be a trigger that pulls that. Ah, because this is set as a trigger. Okay. Nice. Okay, so that works. Now the question is, how do we make this? We have to make it transition back to idle. And it should automatically do that? No. No. How dare I assume that it would be that simple? Let's see. So this is going to have to transition, and we'll do if do hit. I've got an idea. So we're gonna change how this works a little bit. We'll do if input.get key. We will always. We will always. I thought this was a bool though. Add bool. I'll close 2. That's also a bool. What is going on? Why is set trigger so dumb? Some of this is really stupid. Okay, so on use, we'll do the actual code of using, but we'll do... Why? Why can you only... Okay, so we're gonna do set bool do hit true, and then in the else we're gonna do false. So the animation will play even if it's not actually doing damage, but then if the time has passed the amount of time on successful use. Okay, nice. And the question is, why is do hit acting like... Hey! Wait! Oh! Oh, nice. Okay, that's it. That worked. Oh, that feels nice. Okay, so now if we hit space, we'll do a little hit. Hit it a few times. And if we hold it down, it'll just keep hitting. So we'll be able to punch them trees. Oh, that's really neat. Okay, look at me, ready to punch everyone in the face. I am ready for the journey. Ready for the journey of punching people. Honestly, that was overly complicated. I'm actually surprised how much that took to get done. But what's really neat is in the future... If we ignore the animator, go to the player. In the future, what we'll do is the player hand will have something in it. Like, let's say we put a stack of logs in it, like that. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm going to use those logs. Except that's kind of hard to see. So we can just, like, make them a little bit smaller. Like that. Using logs! Look at it! This is so exciting. We can grab things and... Oh, wow, the UI. Look at that UI. Very nice. Okay, so overall, it's a lot of... If you look at the, that with the camera and stuff, there's a lot of things smoothly flowing together. You've got the secret stuff in the GUI here, and then you've got the player itself, the hand, a lot of things moving at the same time. And you can even notice that I put smoothing in the camera, so the camera lags behind the player a tiny bit. It's just everything to make it as smooth and comfortable of a gameplay experience as possible. It's clockwork. Or it should be clockwork, unless something isn't really working properly, in which case it would be really sad. Okay, so, on successful use, not super necessary yet, but what we have to do is we have to make it so that things appear in the player's hand now. So, that's fun on a few levels. So now in inventory, not even inventory, it's player inventory. Normal inventories you can't hold anything in. So in the player inventory, when the slot is selected, we need to do a few other things. We have to do player dot, and we're gonna have another thing in player, and it's gonna be public item stack select on stack selected. Oh no, it's gonna be public void. It's not returning an item stack, it's getting an item stack. And then we're gonna do item stack stack. Run whenever a new item stack is selected by the player. Okay. Great. Looking good. So, this is gonna be a challenging one. Because obviously some objects should show up in his hand differently than others. Okay, so a few things. Let's go back to player inventory. We have to do... This has public player. No, it doesn't. Public player. And then we do player dot on stack selected. And we're gonna do slots index dot item stack. Send update to player. And now we're gonna jump back to the player code. Very fun. We just have to make sure that we don't forget to set... There's a lot of things you can't forget. A lot of things. Because we're working with so many little things at the same time here. But one of the big parts is that when we're working on our player, we have to remember to set all the variables. Oh, shoot. That's gonna be tough because this is actually separate from the player. So we actually have to do... we're gonna have to do player equals game object dot find. Oh, I'm in the wrong code here. Wrong code. Oh, actually, the canvas owns the inventory bar. Oh, this is gonna be really hacky, but what we can do is we can do canvas dot get component in children inventory player inventory dot player equals this. So we'll have the player handle it. Ensure that the inventory has a reference to the player. Fantastic. And what that's going to do is it's just going to make it so that the inventory knows which player owns it. Because otherwise we can't tell the player when we're holding something because we wouldn't know what player to tell. So now we can do that. And let's just make sure that that's working, make sure that there's no errors. Okay. And we've got errors. But what is the error? Object reference is not set to the Oh, true. If slots index is not equal to null, there's a chance that when the game starts, that won't actually be set yet. Let's see if that's the answer. Oh, same bug? Same bug. Okay, so it's not that. Let's make sure that the... actually, this is done in start, which means player should be doing this all in awake. That'll ensure that it's done first. Let's see if that breaks anything or if it oh my god. Again. What is null? What is not existent? Oh, wait, no, that can't be null because it's a struct. It's gotta be... What is going on? This is run on start. Oh, but the player isn't existent yet for a second. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna actually have to get rid of that, and we're gonna have to do it in the player. Player inventory inv equals that, and then we'll do inventory dot player equals this. Then we'll do inventory dot update slot selected 0. So the player handle it. If you just get a blank page after loading, that means that your device doesn't support it. At some point, I'll compile it for like every device, but not quite yet. But now we can walk around and we can punch things. Isn't that exciting? The punching doesn't do much yet, though. That's the sad thing. Like, we're gonna have to add a collider to the hand. A trigger that'll tell things when we're punching them, or we'll start the player off with an axe. We could go that route, and then we can have the tools do things, or we could have it so that the player has to walk around and pick things up and then make an axe before they can chop down a tree, which would probably make the most sense. That's exciting. So being able to punch is cool. I mean, it's not the greatest innovation of this century, but things are coming together very slowly. With that, how long have we been streaming? A good while. Thank you all for watching. That was adding punch functionality, and I'll see you all next time. Go check out the site. It's slow but steady. I know that Android works. I know that Chrome Windows, Firefox Windows, my Android phone works if you just hit the OK button. It gives you a warning, but you can just hit OK and ignore it. But that's gonna be it for now, guys. Peace out.